We love the feeling of cause and effect. A single tap and momentum builds, pushing weight far heavier than our own effort until the entire structure comes crashing down. But this creates a dangerous illusion. We start to believe that our choices operate on a straight, isolated line, that we can push a lever over here and get a single neat result over there without disturbing the rest of the room. The universe strictly forbids isolated actions. This rule is hardwired into physical reality through Newton's third law of motion. For every force applied, there is an equal and opposite reaction. You push an object, and that object pushes back into your hand with the exact same amount of force. Think of a heavy punching bag. You hit it, the bag absorbs the impact, and then it swings right back at you, returning the exact kinetic energy you delivered. But a punching bag is a static, predictable object. What happens when you apply this hard physical law to a vast, unpredictable, living network? In complex environments, the system rarely swings straight back. The force you apply fractures, splinters, and echoes outward, creating a multiplying cascade of reactions you can no longer control. To see this in action, we have to step out of the sterile physics lab and look at a dynamic biological web. Real-world networks run on non-linear feedback loops. A feedback loop is a circular process where the output of an action loops back to become the input for the next round. Instead of safely absorbing your initial push, the environment swallows it, amplifies it, and echoes it back through entirely different channels. For example, engineers build a single hydroelectric dam to generate clean power. Over the following decades, that single concrete wall alters water temperature, disrupts fish migration, and eventually causes massive downstream soil erosion, throwing the entire surrounding landscape out of balance. This is the core rule of systems dynamics. When you push against a complex system, it pushes back in ways that completely defy a straight line. One of the clearest examples of this echo is a trophic cascade, an ecological chain reaction that starts at the top of a food chain and tumbles all the way down. Consider what happened when scientists reintroduced a top predator, the gray wolf, to the Yellowstone ecosystem. The immediate first-order effect was entirely predictable. The wolves needed food, so they began hunting the local elk and deer populations. But the second-order effects caught observers by surprise. The herbivores realized they were being hunted, so they rapidly altered their behavior. They avoided vulnerable valleys and stopped grazing on exposed riverbanks where they could be easily trapped. This triggered a massive third-order effect. Because those riverbanks were suddenly free of heavy, constant grazing, the local flora exploded. Aspen and willow trees sprang up, and the vegetation along the water violently and rapidly regenerated. All of this new, deep-rooted vegetation physically locked the soil in place. Environmental erosion plummeted, and the riverbanks quickly stabilized into tight, firm channels. The cascading biological impact became a geographical one. By stabilizing the soil and reducing the meander of the water, the wolves changed the physical flow of the rivers themselves. An isolated decision to add a few animals to a forest echoed through multiple hidden layers of the food web until biological intent literally reshaped the physical earth. Physics acts as our ultimate reality check. It proves that the privacy of consequence is a total fiction. No action, whether physical or social, happens without leaving an expanding footprint. This is exactly why physics anchors the triangle of wisdom framework. While our philosophy gives us intent, and our mathematics gives us predictive models, physics outlines the strict boundaries of what happens when those models actually hit the real world. Navigating this reality requires 3 specific habits. First, anticipate systemic resistance. Whenever you implement a new policy or change a personal routine, expect the existing structures to push back. Reaction is a built-in feature of the universe. Second, optimize your initial conditions. Chaos theory teaches us that tiny variables at the start of a process compound over time. A minor error on day 1 becomes a massive structural failure by year 10. Finally, track your feedback loops. Actively monitor whether your daily decisions are creating positive momentum or reinforcing negative friction. True power is the conscious mastery of systemic architecture. It requires looking past the first domino, abandoning the illusion of isolation and taking absolute responsibility for every echo you create.